So I'm so excited to share with you guys my Foilayage slash Balayage technique, so let's go. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys one of my clients, and she has a little bit of a natural level 7 into kind of a brassy blonde, but it's time to brighten her up. We're going to brighten her. We're going to give her a little bit more of an ashy color. So I'm so excited to share with you guys my Foilayage slash Balayage technique, so let's go. Alright, so this is what we're starting with. You guys can see that she has just really grown out kind of a balayage. We had done some face framing pieces before that kind of were bright right there around her face, but overall she's pretty natural. That's like her natural color, and then just her brighter ends. So we want to go much brighter today, much more ashy, and I'm excited to brighten her up. Alright, so we are mixing up Blondor with 30 volume and 20 volume with Olaplex, of course, and then Colorants 7NA. I'm going to pull this through a little bit of her mids, but the reason why we're mixing up two different developers is because we'll do the 30 on some pieces and the 20 more so on her goldeny ends. So this is our sectioning. I just sectioned the front out from in front of the ear, and then I did some diagonal backs to section out her hairline first. We'll tackle these pieces, and then we will move up to this back section, and then we'll go to the front hairline and then to the sides. So I weaved out her hairline, and then I am going to tease it just a tiny bit. She's got a lot of these little baby hairs, so we'll just kind of get them out of the way. And you guys can see she's got some brightness right there, but we're going to just blend that in a little bit closer to the root. So I'm using a lightweight conditioner. This is the Dual Senses conditioner from Goldwell, and I really like it because it's super lightweight and it helps me blend up into her hair. And my next section will be about another ½ inch away because we want to keep it bright around her hairline. So when she wears it up in a ponytail, it's nice and bright. You guys can see I'm just kind of blending that lightener up into that conditioner base. We have a little bit of leftover warmth down here, so we'll use our 20 volume down here just to kind of tackle that guy. And again, I used Olaplex, so we'll be really careful of overlapping any of her hair, but if it does, we do have Olaplex in there as well. I also sometimes take a dry brush to just kind of clean up any areas that could potentially be a line. And you guys can see I've been working diagonal back, and then I will do one straight across, but for this section, I'm actually going to do a low light in it. So first, we're going to weave out the piece that I want to be light, and I'm actually going to clip this guy away. And then I'm going to go back into this section and weave out another section. And this is actually going to be kind of a low light. Now I'm not going to take this all the way down to the ends because I still want there to be brightness on her ends. You guys can see there's just a little bit of warmth in there, and she wants to be pretty ashy, so I'm going to make sure to kind of get rid of that warmth. I'm using Colorants 7NA from Goldwell, and I'm just going to kind of feather it down into here. I'm not going to, again, do it all the way through the ends, but this is just going to kind of give us a little bit of dimension inside, a little bit more ashy dimension versus what we have going on right now. We'll kind of pull this off to the side, and then I'll fold this foil up. Just kind of lock it down with the corner like that. You guys can see I just kind of also feather up into the roots because she's a level 7. It's not a big deal. And then we'll take the highlight down, kind of tease it up. You guys can see her baby hair is kind of getting out of the way. That's also going to be great for us to blend that line out even more. Now I am going pretty high up with her lightener because she's got so much depth back here that I want to make sure that this color lasts for a long time. So apply that conditioner, and I'll apply our lightener. Now this is 30 volume. You guys can see I'm tackling that kind of warm area in here, and then I'm going to drag it down, and where it starts to kind of transition, I'll do our 20 volume just to make sure that we're not over processing her ends. Alright, so now I have that line. I'm going to go back in and blend it out. And my goal by using the conditioner and by doing the teasing and by kind of blending it even with our dry brush is to not have to do a root shadow or blend it out later. That saves me a step, that saves me color, it saves extra color being on the client's hair, and so my goal is to not have to use a root shadow, and typically we don't because it blends so nicely. So you guys can see I'm just taking that clean brush, cleaning it up, place a foil on top, and make sure that none of these hairs get in there. Usually they're okay, but just be wary of that. And then we'll just lock it down on the corner here. Alright, we'll continue to do this on the other side, and then we'll actually do a straight across section next. I applied my low light, and as I started to feather it down, it started to get kind of on some of my lightness where I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a spray bottle and kind of spray it down, and what this will do is this is going to help blend it out. I'm just going to kind of go like that. We just want to make sure that we're not getting too ashy on the bottoms. You could always apply lightener, but I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to kind of blend it out right there. And by using the water bottle to do that, it's going to help it not take so much right there. And just make it a little bit ashy. Alright, that's good. Finally, to our top section, you guys can see there's so much darkness that she has in here, so I do want to actually add a low light in because you guys can see kind of the warmth, like there's her ashy color, then there's that warmth in there, and then kind of these ends. So I am going to add a low light in, but it's going to be more of a smaller low light. So this is first going to be our highlight piece. Put this out of the way, and then this will be our low light. Again, blend that down in there, and I'm just kind of using the side of my brush to kind of gently blend it down in there. Blend it up kind of in here, but again, this is ashy, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And we'll get our highlight piece. We want to make sure that we tease this really well because this is going to be the veil piece that kind of hangs over all the back here. And you want to make sure too, I'm pushing the product, I'm actually bracing it with the back of my hand, or with my hand, and I'm pushing that product into it because I want to make sure there's no hollow spots in there. And then we'll just kind of blend this up into here. You guys can kind of see I am kind of creating a little bit more of a W, but I just want to make sure that we're being more jagged with it. We're going to kind of do some baby lights. She's got these little baby hairs, so we got to tackle those. So usually I do just about an inch away from the hairline, sometimes less depending on the client, depending on what they want. And I'm just applying this like 3/4 inch away from the hairline. And then we're going to blend that lightener up into it. And really careful not to overlap. And because I have a little bit of lightener hanging out over here, I'm not going to fold over this end because I don't want it to get on her hair back here. Alright, she's got a pretty strong hairline up here, so I am going to do this in 2 sections, you guys. I want to make sure that we're going to have a really nice look when she wears it back in a ponytail. So, instead of doing 3 sections, we're going to do 4. That extra little time to me to use an extra foil is going to make a huge difference. And it's more important to take the time to do it than skipping and just doing 1 section. So, we'll split that. Little baby foil. Alright, so once I'm done with these, I actually pull them all down and split the hair where the client naturally parts their hair. And then we're going to go tackle the sides. Alright, so her little hairs around her face are nice and small. She's got a lot of baby hairs, and you guys can see there's actually a little bit of over processing, so we're actually going to be cutting some of this. But we want to blend out this line a little bit. I'm going to do kind of a baby light look. And I'm using my smaller foils for this just because I can get in nice and tight. You guys can see there's all these little extra baby hairs and stuff, so I'm just going to be really careful of overlapping and just being gentle. I'm actually going to use my 20 volume to go in with here, just because it's a smaller section and in case we do overlap a little bit. And this is where your dry brush is going to kind of come into handy because you can go back through and erase lines that maybe aren't as pointed. Just kind of soften that a little bit. Really thin sectioning. And for those of you that may ask, these are just foils that I got from Cosmoprof and Tor. And then my long foils are actually from Smart & Final. You guys can check them out. They're really great foils because they're longer. I think they're the burrito foils, but they're, I think, 12 inch by 12 inch. and then we just tear them in half. But they are great for those longer foils, and we don't have to spend a ton of money on them. They're about the same price as the shorter ones, but they're great for like our long sections. Now this is a short foil, but I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. Just continue up the head doing diagonal back sections, usually about 1/2 inch apart, and this section's pretty fine. Otherwise I would tease it, but it's actually pretty fine. So these are the longer foils I was telling you guys about. These are, I think, 12 by 12. They are the burrito foils, so if you're looking for them, check out burrito foils. They're awesome. And you can see there's a lot of depth in this section, so we're gonna pull this down pretty far. And then these short foils fit right perfect in here, so I can kind of fold up those ends and they're not gonna overlap or anything like that. So you could use a longer foil on top. I just personally like to save my longer foils and do the shorter one. It's less in the client's face. So we're just gonna continue up the hair, continuing to do that. I actually do a deep weave on this one so you guys can see. Just kind of go like that. So I'm splitting that section basically in half, but through a weaving. And we're still gonna tease it too. After I finish the entire head, I always go back and check this foil because it's right on top, and it usually gives me an idea of where the back section has processed to. Plus I want to make sure that there's no lines in it. You guys can see that this looks pretty smooth, but sometimes I'll just go back in and kind of feather it through a little bit more, lightener through there, some fresh lightener just to kind of brighten it up still. But usually I'll check kind of sometimes the first couple foils just to make sure that everything's processing right, everything looks good, and so far it looks really good. So we'll let her process. The only other thing you could do in this situation is you could go back out and kind of tip out some of these ends if you wanted to. Sometimes I'll gather them together and we'll just kind of tip them out. I'll actually do that just on a few sections to brighten them up for the last like couple of minutes. That'll give you a little bit of brightness through her ends too. Alright, so I just kind of pulled a lot of her ends that we had left out in between the foils, and I gathered them all to the side, and I'm just gonna literally kind of tip them out for the last, 20-30 minutes of what we have processing. I'm just gonna kind of weave out part of it. You could take this whole section and tease it. Just depends how blonde they want to be. She wants to be pretty blonde, so actually we will take this whole section. Just kind of tease it, and again, I'm just literally focusing on these baby ends. We're not gonna be doing up anything into the depth. And because it is such a thick section, I do like to spread it out a little bit beforehand. And I still will use a little bit of conditioner just to create that buffer. Make sure to get it fully saturated in there. And we're just gonna go in with our 20 volume and just kind of feather this in. This is a great way to just add a little extra brightness, kind of give them that pop. You guys can see I'm kind of pushing it in there with my brush, kind of pushing it down and the product down in there so that there's no hollow spots. And I'll just fold this guy into thirds. Cool. We'll do this on the other side too. Alright, so we went through and applied Olaplex number 2. That helps me kind of comb out some of the teasing that we did earlier. And it's also going to help kind of protect her, but you guys can see how light and blonde we got her, and those ends are nice and beautiful. But she wants to be much ashier than this. So normally we don't tone her, but today we are going to. So I'm gonna actually rinse out the number 2 and then we're gonna apply the toner. And we're always gonna start underneath in the back, just to make sure that it processes good. And for her toner, what I did was I mixed up Shades EQ, 3/4, 9P, 1/4, 9N, and a little bit of clear. I don't want it to process too much. We want to go a little bit darker than where she is right now, so that's why I added just a tiny bit of clear, but I want to make sure it doesn't go too dark and we don't have enough contrast. So So when I'm applying my toners, I just apply it to kind of the mid-shaft area where the warmth is, and then I go through and kind of pull it through the ends. But sometimes I actually like to leave the ends out just to keep them a little bit brighter. So I'll apply it here first, and then at the end I'll go through and like pull it through the ends. You guys can see I'm kind of leaving those out for now. And again, with this technique, the coolest thing is we don't even have to do a root shadow or a root shade. Just a toner. So like I said, it saves us time, it saves us color, and it saves the client an extra step of having another step of color on their hair. So it's usually the best thing if we can avoid having more color on the hair. And actually with her, I'm gonna leave out her hairline because it's pretty blonde. I don't want that to get too dark. I'm gonna leave this out, those pieces that we brightened up. Now I'll go back through and apply it to the ends. Kind of massage it in. And we'll probably let this sit on for 5 to 10 minutes, but I really just kind of keep an eye on it and watch it and wait to see kind of how it's lifting and developing. So now I just pulled her hairline back and I'm just gonna kind of apply it more so to the root area. Kind of get rid of any warmth there, and I'll kind of leave these ends out. They're pretty good, so we'll just kind of let those hang down, but I'm just still letting this process. It's been about 3-4 minutes. You guys can see how beautiful it's looking. We still want to go a little bit more, but like look at these beautiful ends. Perfect. It's been sitting on for about 8 minutes or so. I'm gonna rinse out her ends because you guys can see they're getting nice and blonde and pretty ashy right there. So I'm gonna rinse these out. We're gonna let the mids kind of sit for just a few more minutes. But it's looking pretty good. I just keep opening the sectioning, make sure there's no like warm pieces, and if there are, I just kind of resaturate right through there. So here is our final product. I just love how it turned out. It's so good. It's like the perfect color blonde. We blended her natural color into kind of that low light. You guys can see that. And then just like this beautiful blonde tone. It's kind of white, but it's also ashy, but also a little bit just like kind of beigey. So it's kind of a perfect color. Highly recommend you guys try out that formula. It's so good and it just feels amazing on her hair. So I hope you guys liked following along that transformation that we did on my client. It was so fun to see her end result. I am so happy with how it turned out. So I'm going to be posting more videos like this in the future. So if this is something that you want to see more of, make sure to hit the subscribe button like always. And leave a comment below if you guys have any questions. I'm here to answer them. And again, if you have any questions, you can also go over to my Instagram, Jamie Dana Hairstylist, and ask me questions over there. I'm definitely an open book. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next time.